It's winter. The season kind of snuck up on me, but then again, every season sneaks up on me. This is my driveway. It looks like I'm going to have to go and find my snow shovel. I think I'm going to forego the shovel. I did acquire this back blade for my Kubota tractor. It's a loaner, and when I say loaner, I don't mean that I borrowed it. I mean that it spends its time by itself, doesn't hang out with other tractor implements. Also, this is an older implement, and it's not quick hitch compatible, so I had to take my quick hitch off and put this on the hard way, although it's not too bad. It's not real bulky and heavy. And not a big deal, because this is one of those things I'm going to put it on in the winter. It's going to stay on the whole time. I'm not going to be switching back and forth. I'm not going to be brush hogging the snow or grading my driveway this time of year anyway. This is much wider than the tractor, which you want it to be, because then once you angle it, you're going to lose some of that span, right? This is a first for me, so I'm going to be learning as I go along. My biggest concern, though, is that I have a gravel driveway, and I don't want it to dig into that. So I'm going to angle this forward a bit, maybe, so make sure it doesn't dig in. Is that angle, or is that tilt, or is this angle, and that's tilt the other way? I don't know. Or maybe that's referred to as rake. This might be an unfound concern. The driveway might be just frozen enough already where it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to experiment a little bit with the angle here and see what works best. Be careful not to angle it too much, otherwise it'll have a tendency to just ride up over the top of the snow, I think. And if that doesn't work, maybe take this whole blade and spin it 180 degrees and use it that way. Before I go out and give it a whirl, though, I need to level this side to side because I got it raked forward, and then with the angle of the blade, I've got a big gap on this side, and then on the other corner, that's sitting right on the ground, so I got to level this first. You can see here the depth of the snow. It's not super deep. It is very light and powdery also, so not a real test of the equipment. It's not, wet, heavy snow or anything. And this is a spot I went over already. I'm just kind of digging through. You can see that's how much it didn't get. So the blade isn't exactly plunging down far enough. It's leaving about I'd say an inch or so kind of on top. So I'll have to back off the angle of that rake a little bit so it gets a little more bite. And some areas are just pure ice underneath. We had a freeze-thaw cycle, and you saw that clip of the wheels just spinning. I had to lift the blade from behind the snow pile just to get moving again. Also, it didn't seem to be pushing the snow off to the side as much as I thought it should. It was more like just bunching up in front of the blade. Matter of fact, like some of it escaping from the left side. So I'm going to try and use the bucket and maybe clear some of it in front of the tractor before the blade gets to it. And using the bucket and the blade in combination, it works, but the bucket just fills up so fast it's kind of impractical to have to keep stopping and dumping it off to the side. Yeah, as I mentioned before, I felt like there was too much snow building up in front of the plow and not pushing it off to the side, to the right side, as much as I think it should have. So I'm going to increase this to a more drastic angle, see if that helps, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to re-level this side to side after I do that as well. So my concern about that, however, is with the angle that great, that it might have a tendency to push the back of the tractor out to the left, and especially with as much ice as underneath the snow here. However, this is a third pass, so there's not a lot of snow. I'm just trying to get all of the loose stuff out of the way, so I don't think I'll be pushing too much snow at one time in this configuration. So I've got this in the next position, or the furthest position there, and I'm going to call that a ridiculous angle there. It's actually, it looks like to be about 45 degrees, but just as I thought, this right side now is way up, and I can't level it anymore. I've run out of adjustment on this turnbuckle here. That's as far as I can go, and this is because I've got the rake so far forward. So the only solution to that really is to let out the top link and get the rake back to closer to 90, and hopefully I don't, and my concern before was digging into the driveway. I'm going to try it out. So with this more drastic angle, it definitely does throw the snow out to the side better than before, and possibly going faster is better here too. Also, I didn't get the back end getting kicked out to the left like I was worried about, but then again, this is also a third pass. I'm not moving a lot of snow here. The one area though, up by the barn, I had not done any previous passes. The first pass was with the blade at 45 degrees, and I did get it kicking out, and it was like the same spot every pass, so I'm thinking it was just an icy spot, but that in combination with the heavier volume contributed to that, but maybe it won't be an issue in the future. I don't expect to have a skating rink under the snow every time. And right here is where I cut the cable, in a matter of speaking. More on that later. We have a casualty here. I was back dragging snow away from the garage door, or the barn door, and dropped the bucket down and forgot there was an extension cord there buried under the snow, and when that bucket came down, it cut the cable. Actually, I saw sparks when that happened, so I got a extension cord repair to do here. With this higher blade angle, I had to back off that rake so that it would be leveled side to side, and it was digging in a little bit. A couple spots there were rocks getting popped up out of the driveway, but it was just a few, so not a really big deal. Of course, the width now, it's narrower at this angle, but it is still wider, or just as wide as the tractor. You can see it's just the width of the tractor, so that's good that the blade's that long. And it definitely did a better job at this angle of getting the snow out of the way and not just bunching up in front of the blade. I'd prefer not to have to make 3 passes in order to get the snow cleared to an acceptable level, so I'm going to have to do a lot more experimentation with combinations of blade angle and rake angle and maybe even speed. Of course, snow conditions change too, so that throws another variable in the equation. Maybe even try adding weight to the blade, that might help too. It might take 2 or 3 or 4 more snowfalls before I really get this figured out. That might amount to a lot of seat time, but at least the scenery's not too bad.